Hi everyone, welcome to our second IG Live. My name is Abby, I use she, her pronouns, and I'm going to be hosting a conversation today with Yosef, who is a youth leader in Fresno. So we're just going to wait while Yosef is able to join the live. And yeah, thanks for coming. Hi, welcome, we're waiting for Yosef to join the IG Live. And yeah, today we're going to be talking about some of the super cool stuff that he's working on. And also just what it's like to be a young person right now in a constantly evolving time. Because since the last ID Live, a lot of things have happened. So yeah, we're just waiting for Yosef to hop on and then we'll get started. Thanks for joining. All right, let's see. Oh. Hello, welcome. We're just waiting for Yosef to join. All right, and then we'll get started on our conversation for today. So excited. All right. Yosef, I think if you request to join the video, then it'll work. I think. For those of you who just joined, my name is Abby. Oh, there we go. Okay. Hey.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Hey, Abby.
Hey, is it possible for you to switch? It looks sideways to me.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, that's better.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Awesome. How are you?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm doing okay. Yeah. Those of you who just joined, my name is Abby. I'm an intern with Youth Leadership Institute, and I'm here today with youth leader Yosef. We're going to talk about a bunch of the cool work that he's doing, and then also just like what it's like to be a young person right now. Because I was just saying, since the last IG Live, so many things have happened. A literal impeachment trial has happened. So there's lots of things to talk about, especially um, in our experiences as young people during this very, very weird time. Um, so, for those of you who just joined, Yosef is a youth leader in Fresno and has been involved in a bunch of YLI programs. You might have seen him. He was part of the Youth at the Table campaign that YLI has been doing. And yeah, thank you, Yosef, so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. All right, so let's just go right into it. So your blog with the Youth at the Table blog, you talked a little bit about your time with Fresno Boys and Men of Color. Can you maybe touch on or go a little bit deeper into some of the work that you've been able to do with Fresno BMOC?
Okay. Yeah, with Fresno BMC, first some background, I actually joined Fresno BMC through my high school, which is Edison High School. There was this sort of club rush going on where they have different clubs set up tables, and they say, come join our club, come join our club. And I saw BMC had one of the tables, and through that, I joined BMC in, I would say, September 2019. So that's last year, my 2 years ago for my freshman year. And I joined there and I started to learn more about exactly what they do. I would say it was a new experience for me because it was one of the first times it wasn't like a club where the leaders of the club, which were mainly adults, would tell us like what to do, and we sort of did it and sort of got something from it. It was sort of like youth and adults were side by side doing it. So that was the first time I sort of had that experience. So through that, I started doing some more work with them, and then it started getting more serious when I went to my first BMC general meeting, which was, I believe it was at Bitwise, which is like downtown. And we started talking more about mental health and what are some ways we could implement more mental health, not procedures, but like practices
Mhm.
throughout high schools across Fresno Unified. And we were creating a plan, but then unfortunately, COVID came, the pandemic came. So our two, no, sorry, three sort of adult allies. It was Cher, um, Cato, and Mark at the time. They created this plan where they said, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to create this budget proposal with youth alongside. And this budget proposal is going to be submitted to the Fresno City Council and support mental health or local mental health organizations. So these organizations were, there's three reasons we did this. The first reason, like the first benefit from this proposal was that these mental health organizations who are suffering just to like struggling to keep their doors open with the pandemic would get some funding and be able to keep their doors open. The second one was more youth would be in Fresno would be able to receive those vaccines, or not vaccines, but supports that they need, like
Hmm.
those practices, different techniques that these local mental health organizations had during the pandemic. And the third reason was that the budget proposal would also fund youth internships at these local organizations. So these organizations would be paid youth internships. So a few youth would be able to apply for an internship with these local organizations and then also get paid for it.
Yeah.
So that was the proposal. It took us, we started, I believe it was, we heard of the idea at first from our adult allies who could sort of create the idea, and we are, of course, for it, 100% agreed with it. And we just kept working. So we started, I would say, let's say end of May, we started to get the idea of it, and then just the month of June was that was just the work. We were meeting, let's say, probably 3 to 4 times a week, and it was during the summertime, so there is not really much school, so we had more free time. But it was a lot of effort put into it. I know we started off with small meetings just to get the idea of what to do, and then we went into phone calls to these organizations. Are you up for this idea? Are you up for this idea? Started to get the hang of it and make sure that they sort of fit our criteria, which was they're sort of suited towards youth, and they had these youth practices. And then that took about a month. It was me and a few other youth allies, and of course our great adult allies at Fresno BMOC. And then we submitted the budget proposal. I believe it was June, so mid to late June. We submitted it because the budget hearings are going on, and they ended, I believe, like the beginning of July because the fiscal year ends then. So we need to get it submitted before the budget hearings for 2021,
Right.
no, 2020 to 2021 are actually created. So once we got it submitted, we created this like very calculated, organized budget proposal. That was, I think we ended up at around $500,000, which seems like a lot, but this is out of like a $78 million city CARES
Hmm.
fund. CARES
Wow.
fund is like anything that's COVID related, which they receive from federal, state governments. So we submitted the proposal and we it got passed, but it got reduced to I believe it was 375,000, which is still a lot. And it was like still to this day I say it's one of my greatest like life accomplishments, and I'm so happy I got to be a part of it. So there's still more work to do with that, but it was passed, and now we just have to actually implement it. So
Yeah. Wow. That is awesome. For those of you who just joined, my name is Abby. I'm here with Yosef, who is a youth leader in Fresno. We're just talking about some of the work that he's been able to do with Fresno BMOC. Um, that process sounds one like so much hard work and also so amazing that, like during a pandemic, you're able to like get in those rooms and be part of those conversations and lead those conversations. What was it like approaching like whether it was like government staff or like nonprofit leaders in predominantly like adult spaces? What was it like as a young person trying to advocate for your needs?
I think it was one of the big things with like the advocation was that we had to reach out to these different like with the advocation like with the advocating we never like really got well not close to like council members,
Hmm.
but what we did was we would sort of work alongside other like organizations. So we had let's see, Fresno Youth Commission was very helpful, so we got to align with them. And yeah, Fresno Youth Commission was a big one. So they really helped us get in touch with like the council members that are actually going to pass this budget proposal. So the approach was through them, but then we sort of got to present the idea to present the idea to these youth council members, these youth commissioners, which was then passed to the council members who then passed it. So it
Oh,
was for me personally, since I was a freshman doing this, I was like expanding my network and
mm,
learning more. So
that's awesome. Awesome. Okay. Um, wow. Yeah. So, I mean, clearly, like, you're very involved, and I mean, so you're currently a sophomore in high school?
yes,
All right,
sophomore.
yeah, cool. So, and then last December, you also officially became a member of the President's Youth Council for the California Endowment, which is congrats also on
Thank
that.
you.
Can you talk about some of the work that you get to do in that position, and then also what it means to be a part of, a council that really prioritizes health and like like the growth of like a healthy and diverse and equitable California for, everyone, including young people.
Yeah, so the background, the California Endowment, it's this sort of health foundation that was created what late 1990s. So it was created for it was started off like as a health foundation, so just for of course for everyone, but then it sort of grew into this more diverse, more change. It changed constantly year by year because
Mm,
like social constructs are changing and this the world was changing as
right.
well.
Mhm.
So the President's Youth Council was a part of the California Endowments, where it's this body of like youth ambassadors from different communities. So I'm the ambassador from the Central Valley, or more actually Fresno. And there's one from Inland Empire, there's one from Orange
Um,
County, one from Stockton. So these different ambassadors, we come together, and basically what we do is like oversee the actions of the CEO of the California Endowment. And we sort of give them advice and like support and input, like youth inputs, since we're the youth leaders. So.
mm, awesome. Yeah, that's so cool. And I mean, you talked in like your at the table blog a little bit about what it means to like the feeling of doing like more local work and more local organizing versus addressing some of the federal issues that obviously are also really pressing, but that it's kind of a different feeling, um, working more. Uh-oh. Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. But that it's a different feeling like doing stuff in, your own community, one's own community. Can you talk a little bit about like that kind of difference between doing work locally and versus like addressing more federal or national issues?
Yeah, I think like personally a little background was before I used to think that national just national policy work, national policy, national politics was the most important. But then as I started to dig in deeper, I think it was through the mental health work we did in the summer through BMOC that sort of helped me
Mhm.
widen and realize, okay, local politics is also very important because yes, national politics does affect us, but local politics also has a greater effect and makes it different because City of Fresno does not have the same policies for City of Clovis or City of Stockton. So when I started to dig deeper into local politics, I started learning more that I learned who my council member was, what city district I live in, which I feel like local politics also is one of those politics that are sometimes underlooked and
Mhm.
overlooked because it's still very important, just like national politics is, but local politics affects just people that live in Fresno, depending on county of Fresno or the city of Fresno. So with yeah, these local politics, it was through the mental health work I did in the summertime with BMOC, where I got to become more involved at the local level, and then since that sort of campaign stopped paused, and then
Mhm.
now we're implementing more. I get to connect more with with my council member who just recently we got a new one for my council, for my city district, which is District 4. I got to get to know him a little better.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I saw him through a Fresno Youth Commission, asked him a question because he's creating a new act, which hopes to get passed, and I support that. So yeah, just the local level is really important, as almost as important as the national level, but still important.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. For those of you who just joined, my name is Abby. I'm here with Yosef, who is a local Fresno leader. And we're just talking about some of the super cool stuff that he's getting to do. So I was kind of wondering, um, as a young person right now, it's like this whole, changes in politics it's constant, right? So what's the pull for you to get involved in politics as a young person?
Um, I think with politics, there's very a lot of different issues, and that they need for if youth want to get more involved in politics, they should first of all not just get for one person because one person can be very biased towards one, whether it's one issue or just one like politician. So
Mhm.
they should get sources from a variety of different sources. So if they watch something that's very liberal, then maybe watch something that's very conservative or something that's moderately liberal. That's just different aisles of the different ends of the aisle.
Mhm.
So that's what I would give advice to different youth that want to get more involved in politics. And then once they do that and get advice, or not advice, but insight from other people, whether it's through YouTube or just in person, I think then they can start to develop their own personal like stances on different issues and how they feel about different people and politicians. But that's just my advice.
Yeah, definitely. Um, and I mean, so a lot of your work has been tied to like politics and mental health, like talking about your work this past summer. How do you hope that young people are included in conversations, whether it's, at the table or in the room or whatever it is, in supporting and creating leading mental health support initiatives and programs?
Yeah, I think when it comes to just young people getting more involved in not things that are necessarily politics, but more into policy making and creating mental health support initiatives. So the way to do that is first they can start on their own, research on their own, create a whole platform on their own, and just find something, start off like through their own foundation, just self-discipline and self-innovative. Or they could go through like the way I did was through a program or through a platform. Like I use Fresno BMC as my platform to do the
Hmm.
mental health work I do. And through that, I could sort of grow and expand. And that's how I found the President's Youth Council. And I found out about the Fresno Youth Commission. I found out about local politics. So I would say those are the two ways, on their own or through a different platform that they can join and learn more about.
Awesome. Cool. For those of you who just joined, my name's Abby. I'm here with Yosef, and we're talking about some of the youth leadership and organizing that he's been working on. Um, so just to kind of pivot a little bit, there's all these things happening in like the political realm, national realm. There's constantly, local changes and happening while we're also still in a pandemic. And then also, we're both in school right now. You're in high school and doing the whole virtual learning thing. Um, can you talk about a little bit about your experiences in online school, what it's been like, and how you think it'll impact the way that you think about school whenever we're able to go back in person?
Yeah, I think first, like starting off when online school began, was that with online school it began, I think it was March 13th, where they suddenly told us, okay,
Yep.
you're gonna come back. Let's see, they said 2 weeks from, no, 3 weeks from the day we left. So
Hmm.
we left March 13th, and they said you'll all come back. Let's see, April-ish.
Hmm.
So then we believed that, and of course it was very like sudden, so it was very shocking and like deep because I didn't know how much I needed in-person school
Yeah.
compared to online school. And then online school happened, and then they told us eventually, okay, you're not coming back. And then when you start to accept it, you get used to it, and then it's a hill to overcome. But then you just have to accept it and then move forward with that. And you can't like let it hold you back just because it's online. So with that, I think with virtual learning, with everything that's going on right now, there are some very big changes, some very big differences between virtual learning and in-person learning. One being it's online and it's not really face to face, it's just through a
Hmm.
camera and you don't really get to see people because of the pandemic and everything. Um, but I think it will impact how we go back in person because first it has to be a slow growth, especially here in California and Fresno County, and how we sort of move back into actually in-person learning. Whether it's slowly, we might go back one time and then we might have to go back on person, or
Hmm.
sorry, online because of everything that's going on, just depending on the cases and
Yeah.
how safe it is. But once we do fully go back into person, which I don't think it's going to be this year. That's just what I think. It's probably going to
Yeah.
be maybe later of next year, maybe not even August. So I think we just have to accept it and get on with it because it's going to take a while for us to get over this pandemic. But once we do, then we'll go back in person. But I think, yeah, there might be some big changes. Like for example, some people might decide online learning is better for them. So that if Fresno Unified created a program where they said, okay, if you all don't want to come back, or half of you don't want to come back, then some of you can stay at home and learn, while the other half can be.
Yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, that's very true. So, I mean, part of it is also not just schools online, but also um, like a lot of the organizing work that folks would normally be involved in has also gone online. And a lot of like kind of leadership opportunities have also become virtual. So, I mean, I guess as we're wrapping up our half hour, what does youth leadership look like to you like during COVID-19? And in circles where you see yourself as a leader, what have been some of the ways that you've had to adapt, or any advice that you have for other youth leaders right now?
Yeah, I think I would say, like, especially during COVID-19, youth leadership has, first, youth have been greatly affected, I would say, by COVID-19, by the pandemic, whether it's financially, emotionally, even physically. I think it's harder to become a leader, but if you're able to sort of overcome and see, like, the future and actually just have some hope for the future, then we can start to grow to become a leader and become a positive leader. Because if we're not a leader for ourselves and also able to help ourselves and take care of ourselves, how are we going to help other people? So I think that's why it's important, especially now with the COVID-19 and with everything that's going on. I think it's also with youth leadership, some opportunities have been more open, and there has been a growth in opportunities since it's online, and more people are sort of on the computers searching, whether it's watching YouTube videos, but people have also taken it into an educational standpoint and said, okay, I'm gonna learn how to become a better leader or join more community organizations or do more volunteer work in Fresno or Fresno County. So I think that's what youth leadership means, especially now with the pandemic. And I think just some ways that I've had to adapt would be, of course, Zoom and everything. T like knowing that I get to be in meetings, but they're not going to be face to face. Um, it's felt sort of the same, just just on Zoom on different platforms. No in person, just on the camera. Just those are some of the ways we've had to adapt. And I think on the different platforms with some of the other people that are in these platforms, like President BMC, the President's Youth Council, we sort of accepted it, and we know that we can still do work, even though it might be a little harder reaching out to the community and especially being ambassadors for our community and leaders for our community if we can really get like close to
Hmm.
our community, like
Yeah.
6 feet apart. But yeah, those are just some of the ways I've had to adapt. And I would just say, yes, it is hard with everything that's going on, but if we really want to be leaders, first, it's ourselves first, take care of ourselves and making sure that we can grow and that we actually take care of whether it's our physical health, our emotional health, our mental health, and then school is a big one.
Hmm.
Um, but then if you really want to go deeper and be leaders in our community, then we would have to do some more work and to find more opportunities and participate in more opportunities. Like one of the ways has been with this pandemic, I've seen a rise in a lot of people doing phone banking,
Hmm.
which is people that have been more involved in politics. Because there's been, for some reason, just a rise in politics since I would say just since school ended. There's been I've seen like just on social media, so many more people have been involved in politics,
Yeah.
whether it's revolving, starting with the George Floyd shooting that happened in May, or whether it's the impeachment or the election, just there's been a huge rise. And phone banking was one of the ways I saw more youth get involved, which was calling people and saying, vote for this person, vote for this person, and here's why you should vote for them.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, the opportunities are there. It's just that you have to find them, be willing to participate in them. But of course, that means taking care of themselves first. That's just my advice.
Yeah. Awesome. What a good way to end. Thank you again, Yosef, for coming here and having this really awesome conversation. We really appreciate it. And thank you to everyone who stopped by and watched our conversation on some of the work that Yosef has been doing in Fresno as a youth leader, and then also just what it's like to be a young person right now. So thanks again, everyone. I will see you all with another IG Live in 2 weeks. And that's it. Signing off. All right. Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.